Assata Shakur, legendary figure.
She terrorizes nobody.
Acts that she was convicted of has nothing to do with terrorism.
I have been locked by the lawless, handcuffed by the haters, gagged by the greedy, and if I know anything at all, it's that a wall is just a wall and nothing more at all. It can be broken down.
I am a black revolutionary, and, as such, I am a victim of all the wrath, hatred, and slander that America is capable of.
Let me emphasize that justice for me is not the issue. It is justice for my people that is at stake.
Assata Shakur,
Black Panther Revolutionary.
Assata Shakur. Assata means she who struggles. Olugbala means for the people, and Shakur means the thankful. It is a name that I took to carry on the name of Zaid Malik Shakur in honor of his family and in honor of the forces of beauty and good on this earth, which I'm very grateful for. That is my name.
Assata Shakur was a revolutionary for the Black Panther Party. The Black Panther Party was created by Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale to protect African American residents from police brutality in 1966. Afterwards, the Black Panther Party's main purpose was to protect African Americans from all violations.
The Black Panther Party was targeted by the COINTELPRO, an organization constructed by the FBI that conducted a series of furtive and surreptitious projects. These series of projects directed at obstructing domestic political organizations. COINTELPRO is short for the Counterintelligence Program.
In the end, COINTELPRO was criticized by Congress and Americans for violating citizens' rights under the First Amendment. In 1971, all COINTELPRO attacks were ended after 25 years of abuse. The FBI admitted to wrongfully abusing their power by violating rights given to American citizens under the First Amendment.
On the other hand, the Black Panther Party was created to supervise police behaviors and to denounce their brutality. This organization started in 1966 after COINTELPRO had begun. Director of the FBI, J. Edgar Hoover, called the Black Panther Party the greatest threat to the internal security of the country. J. Edgar Hoover started the abusive program COINTELPRO in an attempt to control common threats to our country, but clearly their view on threatening groups that go against our country were twisted.
The Black Panther Party, founded by Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale, dared to rebel against the segregated nation we live in. They fought for freedom.
Assata Shakur used to go by Joanne Chesimard, but changed her name in honor of Zaid Malik Shakur. Zaid Malik Shakur was killed along with Officer Forster on May 2, 1973. On this day, 3 Black Panther Party revolutionaries were pulled over on the New Jersey Turnpike, a place commonly avoided by activists and revolutionaries. They were pulled over for a broken taillight and were afterwards found suspicious for their Vermont license plate.
What comes next is unclear between government witnesses and reports. What is known from that day on the New Jersey Turnpike is that Trooper Forster and Trooper Harper pulled over Sundiata Acoli, Zaid Malik Shakur, and Assata Shakur. Assata Shakur put her hands above her head as told by the police, but was still shot twice by Trooper Forster. Zaid Malik Shakur and Trooper Forster were both shot and killed. When Zaid Malik Shakur was killed, he was in the midst of trying to protect Assata Shakur from being shot. Assata Shakur was charged for murdering her friend and colleague, Zaid Malik Shakur, and Trooper Warner Forster by an all-white jury.
Trooper Harper originally claimed that once at the scene, Trooper Forster held out his gun and said, "Jim, look what I found." That is when Assata Shakur supposedly pulled out a pistol from the right of her leg and shot Trooper Harper in the shoulder after being told to keep their hands on their lap. Although it was testified by the state police investigators, the bullets in his head came from a .3 caliber semi-automatic pistol, just as Trooper Forster held.
Mos Def says about Assata, "They made her sound like a supervillain, like something out of a comic book, but even then as a child, I couldn't believe what I was being told."
Assata Shakur wrote, "A neurologist testified that I was paralyzed immediately after being shot. A surgeon testified that it was absolutely anatomically necessary that both arms be in the air for me to receive the wounds. This surgeon also testified that if I had been crouching in a flying position when I was shot, it would have been totally anatomically impossible. A pathologist testified that there is no conceivable way that the bullet could have traveled over to hit the clavicle if my arm was down.
Trooper Harper later made a new claim, agreeing with documents stating Assata was shot with her hands above her head. He claimed Sundiata Acoli shot Forster in the head just as Assata Shakur was shot.
After being falsely accused of murder, Assata Shakur was sent to a life in prison plus 33 years. She was under strict confinement in an all-male prison because of her political beliefs. She was beaten and tortured without being allowed any visitors. Her aunt, who also acted as her lawyer, had to get a court order for her mother and sister to be allowed visitation rights. She was a political prisoner in America when it was claimed America had none.
She considers herself to have escaped slavery by moving to Cuba. After 6.5 years in this condition, she escaped to exile in Cuba. When nobody knew where Assata was, the Hands Off Assata campaign began. This let her know where she could be safe. Once in Cuba, she says she began to be aware of what we were robbed of in America. I realized that I was connected to Africa. I wasn't just a colored girl. I was part of a whole world that wanted a better life. But still, all the pros of living in Cuba, there are some cons. Assata Shakur says, living in exile is hard. I miss my family and friends. I miss the look of recognition black women give each other, the understanding we express without saying a word.
The New Jersey State Police Department put a $1 million bounty on Assata Shakur on May 2, 2005, 32 years after being shot by Trooper Forster. Some bounty hunter in Florida says he plans to capture Shakur, says Miss Weathersby. I hope he fails. I hope he fails, because I believe it is the height of hypocrisy for the Bush administration to put her on the same terrorist watch list as Osama bin Laden.
One might oppose that Assata Shakur is indeed the nation's most wanted terrorist and committed numerous crimes. A crime might be that Assata Shakur has killed and assaulted various people. In consonance with the government, Assata Shakur killed Officer Forster, Zaid Malik Shakur, and assaulted State Trooper Harper on May 2, 1973. While escaping from prison, Assata Shakur took a pistol and held 2 officers hostage with cooperation from 2 other prisoners and finally escaped using a prison van. Still, the government has zero evidence agreeing Shakur committed these crimes or is a terrorist. Instead, all evidence proves Shakur is a victim. Therefore, Assata Shakur is not a terrorist.
Despite the government's attempt to portray Assata Shakur as a terrorist, she was an African-American activist and constituent of the Black Liberation Movement. Shakur led many people to realize the deficiencies in the United States way of governing and justice system as it relates to the people of color. This realization brought us as Americans to improve our justice system and to grant people equal rights. In addition, this event made us realize how government can abuse its power when it labels a peaceful protest as a terrorist act.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. We must love each other and support each other. We have nothing to lose but our chains.